Music is a beautiful thing. All right. Music is a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing, baby. It's a beautiful thing. Let me tell you something about music. It's beautiful.
My name is Ebony. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I will be doing a video series that I have on my channel called The Reading Playlist, in which I feature artist music and give you book recommendations based on that. And today I'm doing no other than Mac Miller. I remember first listening to Macadelic Kids when I was probably just entering high school. I remember downloading Macadelic and Kids onto my iPod Shuffle. It's been a minute. The first album that I'm going to be doing a little deep dive analysis on is The Divine Feminine. The Divine Feminine is an album in which Mac Miller honors femininity and really praises women and discusses relationships and how women have impacted him and his life and his views on love. And I just think that that's such a beautiful thing, and we don't really get that too much from male artists, especially an entire project named The Divine Feminine. So we love that. And some of my favorite songs from The Divine Feminine are Congratulations, Dang, My Favorite Part, Planet Goddamn. So I wanted to give you a romance book recommendation, and I typically don't read romance, but I did read an absolutely stellar one recently, and that was Alone with You in the Ether by Olivie Blake. I think that Alone with You in the Ether is a good match for The Divine Feminine. Alone with You in the Ether follows our two main characters, Ronaldo and Regan, and they are both dealing with their own bits of like self-doubt, depression, anxiety, but they come together and they fall in love, and it's a very beautiful story. Just the way that this book discusses art and love. I think a song that perfectly fits Alone with You in the Ether is Planet Goddamn. The two characters, Ronaldo and Regan, as they are kind of scared to fall in love and scared about where it might lead them, and they self-sabotage a little bit along the way, and also how they're dealing with their own inner struggles. I just really appreciated that story, and I think it goes very well with The Divine Feminine. And also for Alone with You in the Ether, we do get a dual point of view from both Ronaldo and Regan. So the same way in which Mac Miller has a lot of women singers featured on The Divine Feminine, like Ariana Grande, I think it's good because you get both of those perspectives about falling in love and like pleasure and art and struggle. And another book that I will literally keep recommending to you until the day is Open Water by Caleb Azumah Nelson. Now this book mainly focuses from the point of view of our male protagonist. It discusses his falling in love with a dancer that he meets. He's a photographer, so we have that sort of like artistic expression. This book reads almost like poetry. It's very lyrical, and there are a lot of songs featured in Open Water, like Frank Ocean, like Kendrick Lamar. So if you're a music lover in general, I think you would really love and vibe with it. But Open Water is about our main character falling in love with a woman and his own fears, and how masculinity and femininity kind of meet for him. Next, I am going to discuss Swimming, which is an album that I absolutely adore. Honestly, I think this one might be my favorite Mac Miller album. Some of my favorite songs from Swimming are What's the Use, Self-Care, Small Worlds, 2009. In this album, Mac Miller is detailing just trying to stay afloat and sort of not drowning in like self-doubt and self-sabotage, and really looking to see the beauty in life and in living, which I think is a message that is extremely important. And just also the production, his voice. He sings a lot on this album, and I just really love the rawness of his voice. Taking all of that into account, some books that I would like to recommend for Swimming. The first one would be The Book of Delights by Ross Gay. The Book of Delights is a essay collection of the author Ross Gay, who is a poet who writes little essays about things that delighted him every day for a year. So I am 50% of the way through with this. Funny story, I didn't realize that my loan at the library was closing and I didn't finish it in time. I have a hold on it again, so hopefully I'll be finishing it soon. And what I found very refreshing about this collection was that it highlighted both the good and the bad. There's particularly an essay in there that I thought was phenomenal, and it's about joy, which is something that Mac Miller thoroughly expresses in his music, and that in order to feel joy, Ross Gay uses a quote from Zadie Smith. Essentially, the essay talks about how you need despair and sorrow and like self-doubt to truly feel joyful and delighted in moments of extreme happiness and just when things are going right. And I think that's such an important message. I think the Book of Delights perfectly matches the entire theme of swimming. I also think another book that goes hand in hand with the overall themes of like swimming, not drowning, kind of like the wreckage that makes us, is Time is a Mother by Ocean Vuong. I just finished that recently and I did a reading vlog dedicated to it. But in Time is a Mother, Ocean Vuong is grappling with time and the recent passing of his mother, and just detailing like good and the bad in life as well, and memories and how time just really kind of like slips away from us. In Time is a Mother, Ocean Vuong also uses like the idea of floating or trying to rise above or stay above water. So I think that would be a good rec for you as well. And also to kind of talk about the more self-improvement aspects, I wanted to mention Mac Miller's favorite books. I saw on Reddit, like always, that Mac Miller's favorite book is The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. I have started reading this, but I never finished it, and I recommend that you read it as well if you're a fan of his music, that this is one of his favorite books. And basically a man works at an amusement park and one day he dies and goes to heaven, and he meets these 5 people who each tell him a valuable lesson about life. And I recommend, from people that I know who've read this, live and die by this book. I just started it and it was one of those things I forgot I was reading. If you know me, I'm literally reading a million things at once, so it's hard to keep up sometimes, but this is one of his favorite books. And there is also mention of The Alchemist being another one of his favorite books. I have read The Alchemist. I've talked about it before, and I think that it is a great story. It is about a man who goes on a personal legend to kind of unearth the valuable things in life and the treasures of life. So to me, Mac Miller definitely goes hand in hand with this. I recommend these two if you haven't read them already. And then also another book that I have read that I'd also recommend that kind of goes hand in hand with especially The Alchemist is The Prophet by Kahil Gibran. And this says this is a spiritual masterpiece set in prose poetry. The Prophet follows the advice of the Prophet Al-Mustafa as he gives his insight on the intricacies of life and the human condition. There's like little essays kind of on different various themes. It's like on love, on children, on giving, on work, on joy, on sorrow. And yeah, it's just a nice little quick book that serves as a nice reminder of what makes life beautiful. So yeah, recommend these bad boys. The last album I'm going to be talking about today is Mac Miller's posthumous album, Circles. This album is often seen as the companion to swimming, and the fact that in swimming Mac Miller is staying afloat, he's working with the tide, he's making it, whereas in Circles this is like about heartbreak and a cry for inner peace, burnout, and things of that nature. Mac Miller was in the process of creating this album before he passed away, and his estate and his label decided to release the album afterwards, so it was never finished by him, but it still is an amazing album and I'm thankful that we have it. 2 songs that I really love from Circles is Woods and Surf. These songs are absolutely stunning. A book that I think really captures like the essence of burnout, like kind of almost giving up and wanting to find inner peace and solace is Assembly by Natasha Brown. I read this recently and I just thought that it was just such an interesting story about striving towards success and feeling as though you're a fraud, kind of, and that you are burnt out and that you basically want to give up on everything and self-destruct. And in Assembly, this follows an unnamed Black woman narrator as she is coming to terms with a diagnosis and contemplating destroying her seemingly perfect life. And in Assembly, there are discussions on race, class. This takes place in London. It was interesting to get that perspective of a British woman, and I think that it hints on a lot of the themes that Mac Miller discusses and circles. And ending on a note that I think is very uplifting is House of Light by Mary Oliver. This is a poetry collection and I read this recently as well. And in House of Light, Mary Oliver basically is in nature and she is finding the light in the darkness. It is very uplifting poetry collection. I would highly recommend that you check out House of Light. I think it matches Surf, for instance, from Circles perfectly. Thankfully, we still have Mac Miller's music and his legacy with us, and it continues to impact me, as I'm sure as it continues to impact you. That concludes this video. I had so much fun coming up with these book recommendations for you. If you are a Mac Miller fan, let me know what your favorite songs are, and then also if you've read any books that you think would perfectly match his music, let us know in the comments. Let's talk about it. Also, let me know who else you want to see. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It is completely free. If you want to see more of me, support my channel. It really means the world to me. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!
I was like, yo.